I definitely try to study and kind of learn a little bit about what other trail racers are doing so that I can adopt a few ideas.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Runnah, your favorite local running community. I'm Juliana, and welcome back to another virtual interview with someone who is not in Falmouth, but is still a local to Massachusetts, which is very exciting. We have Judy Proteau here with us today, who is an accomplished ultramarathon runner and also a race director out in Western/Central Massachusetts with the Highland City Striders, correct?
Yes.
And well, Judy, I'm so excited to have you here. I love the passion that you have. I can already tell you have a lot of passion for the running community, where you're from and in general, but welcome onto the show.
Thank you, Juliana, so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love your smile, if I could just say that.
I have a really weird lopsided smile.
I love it because I'm such a podcast girly that I often cannot connect a person's face to their voice. But now it's great to connect the face to the voice, and you have a beautiful smile.
Oh, well, again, thank you. For me, it's also good for me to see the people that I listen to too, because I'm also a podcast listener as well, like producer and listener to many other podcasts. It's always interesting for me to see people who haven't seen my face and what they think I look like. I've gotten some really interesting descriptions where I'm just like, okay, I guess that's the vibe I'm putting out. So, but I'm so excited to have you, Judy. Like I said, you are a pretty accomplished, I would say very accomplished ultramarathon runner in your own right, and also a race director in Massachusetts as well, a fellow female race director, which is even more important, I feel like, in the world of trail running nonetheless, because trail running is definitely dominated still currently, by the male species, shall we say. And especially in the race directing world, we are definitely not in the majority on the road and on the trails. But I think it's super important for ladies to be part of the trail running community, and also the race organizing side of things too. So I think you're doing the Lord's work over here, my friend.
It's super fun, Juliana. And actually, full disclosure, I'm actually co-race director with Race for the Refuge. So my friend Beth, I kind of roped her in. I said, let's do this thing together and create a race out of nothing. And she said, okay, I'm game. And she's great to work with because we really kind of complement each other in terms of the things that she's great at and the things that I'm good at. Yeah. And together we make a pretty good team.
Yeah. I mean, having two female race directors is even better than one. We love that. 10 out of 10. But okay, let's go into your running history, Judy. What is the running origin story of Judy, and where did it start? Like, did you always run? Is this new to you? Like, where are we going with this?
Well, I ran a little bit in middle school and high school, but just a little bit to, get the stress, as a stress reliever, and just to get a little exercise and fresh air, that sort of thing. But I wasn't on the track team. I was actually a softball person. But it was really probably about 10 years ago when I realized that, wow, middle age is a little bit tough when you eat all the foods, but you don't really take care of your body the way you should. And so it's one of those days where I'm like zipping up my pants in the fall, and I'm like, ooh, I think I need to start moving a little bit more. And at the time I had a really high stress job, 2 young children, that sort of thing. And it was just like, okay, it's time. It was a good wake up call. So it just started with a couple laps around the block here, and I signed up for a 5K.
Okay.
And a road 5K, like the local charity 5K that's at the local school. I was so nervous the whole time. And I was like, I had only maybe done, 2 miles on the treadmill because it was a spring 5K. Yep. And I didn't really know how to run outside. I didn't know if it was going to be slippery. Yeah. All of these different things that I look back now and I said, wow, that was quite a journey to go on.
Totally. Do you remember the name of the 5K that you ran?
Oh gosh, I don't.
Just wondering because I was just wondering. I was like, does it still exist? I wonder if it's still happening or not.
Yeah, it's just for like a local charity at the school. And one of the most
Mm,
memorable things though about it was there were probably a couple hundred, it wasn't huge, like 300 runners perhaps.
yeah,
And a woman, we were on the starting line, and I was kind of near the back because
yeah,
I didn't know if I could finish.
yeah.
And there was a woman who just kind of tripped and fell in front of me.
Oh,
And everyone just goes running past her. And I said, "Oh my gosh." I like tried to help her up a little bit. I was like,
yeah,
"Are you okay?" But everyone just kept running and I was just surprised, I guess.
yeah. At that behavior.
You know, it's
Hmm.
it's it's okay. She was fine. And so I just started running after that. But
Yeah. It is interesting too, because I feel like when you go to a 5K, there are a lot of like beginners there, which is great. And like we'd love to see that. That's absolutely
Mhm.
fantastic. And people like, I feel like the more you are a beginner at whatever distance it is, the more you're like upping your head about things. And so,
Mm.
and when you're upping your head about things, you kind of like get very like streamlined and don't really see what's going on around you. And that's probably what I'm thinking possibly happened. People were just like very much so like, I'm going to finish this 5K. This is my first 5K. Like, here I go. And just like really getting into like that tunnel vision and
Yeah,
not seeing what's
absolutely.
happening. Yeah.
There's always a little chaos
Yeah.
around the starting line. I ran the Boston Marathon a few years ago, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just I was
Chaos.
in one of the later waves,
Uh-huh.
and it was still a little bit chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
best way to describe it.
Yeah. Have you run any other like major marathons? I mean,
No,
congratulations on
just
Boston too.
Oh, thank you. No, just Boston. I have friends though in the running club who are going to, was it Cape Town? I think was the one
Oh,
they just
yeah.
had a
Uh-huh.
few. And then of course I have a friend that's going to Sydney in the
Oh, nice.
fall. So it's really kind of cool to like live vicariously through them.
Yeah.
And they tell me about their training and what the
Hmm.
temperature is going to be like in Australia in September.
Yeah.
I don't really know. So it's kind of fun.
Okay. I was just wondering too, because like obviously the trail running scene is a lot different than the major marathon scene. And that's one of the things that I've definitely coming from the road marathon world. And I've done now 5 out of the 6 world marathon majors.
Mhm.
London's my last one, which I deferred because of an injury. We'll leave that
Yeah.
for later. But I'm running next year, so it's all good. But like it's a hugely different vibe than
Yes.
like running your local trail marathon or trail ultra. Like it's just there's a lot of pomp and circumstance and there's a lot of chaos a lot of the times. And I mean, I'm currently in the zone where I'm like, you know what? I think London will probably be good. And then I'll just do some more trail stuff. I think that's nice for us. Just a lot more chill. So
But it depends on what you're going for,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
even your mood that year when you look at the beginning of the year to figure out what you want to sign up for,
Hmm.
what you want to put your name in for the lottery, like maybe you want one big, marathon, and then maybe you want a couple smaller trail races for
Yeah.
the cool vibe. But I was actually curious. I know that you work very closely with Cape Cod Marathon,
Oh, yes.
and
Yeah.
you do the race announcing at the end, right?
Yes. I do the race announcing and I do the social media. Correct. Yeah.
So how do you create that cool vibe, that finish
Ooh.
line vibe?
Oh, I mean, like, well, one, we have the best volunteers and the best staff in the entire world. So, in my personal humble opinion, and so a lot of it is like the energy that they're also bringing to the
Mhm.
race too, and a lot of it is the energy that you're kind of creating going up into the race and like creating for us, it's like inclusivity, like making sure everyone feels welcome, making sure everyone feels like communicated with. And I don't know, I'm just someone who has a lot of enthusiasm and I get really jazzed up really easily. So I like start like yelling positively and recreationally screaming is one of my favorite activities. So positive recreational screaming. So
Love it.
I think it's just kind of like being an enthusiastic and positive like person, being able to convey that to the runners and let them know like, hey, you are doing a great job. Like this is awesome. Like you are absolutely killing it. For me, like it's just having that like passion for what what everyone is doing. And then also I would say like the relatability because I for that day I'm on the starting line for the marathon specifically from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Like I am on that.
That's a long day.
It's a long day, but like I also understand that like it's not my day to be in the spotlight. It's not my day to be running, but I have other days where like I'm usually training for something. Like this year I'll be doing Ghost Train after. So and hopefully the Womp Romp too. So I signed up for that too.
Yeah.
But like I get where these people are coming from. I have that
Right.
lived experience. I did my long run probably like 2 days before, just in preparation, so that way I could get it done and then be on the starting line. So
Mhm.
like I have that personal connection to people, and that's I feel like makes a big difference too. Because like we have the Chowder Challenge, which is part of our weekend, which I think Judy you'd absolutely kill. So you should totally come out and run it, which is the half marathon Saturday and the full marathon Sunday.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, you get a mug and you get a spoon medal. It's a full size spoon on a medal. It's great. And we have chowder at the end. And I always make sure when I see the yellow bibs, which is their color bib at the end of the finish line, and their name pop up for me, I make sure that the entire finish line like screams for them. Because like I know I've done the Chowder Challenge twice and I know how hard it is. Like it's challenging to be able to get back up the next day and be like, yep, let's do double what we did yesterday. And I'm definitely not tired, you know?
Yeah, it's too early mornings of,
Yeah, you
of
have to
getting
like,
up early.
you have to wait in between too, because obviously the 100-mile distance, the 50-mile distance, like I'm assuming they present their own challenges, which is like keep going, but having to stop and then restart again after a
Mhm.
significant amount of time and like not knowing how your body's going to process that can definitely be really challenging as well too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that sounds like fun. And you
yeah.
also do the Falmouth Road Race too, right? Isn't that part of your organization?
So the running club is not in charge of the road race, but
Oh, okay.
I do participate in the road race. This will be my 12th road race, I want to say.
Wow.
But if you're a resident in town, you can automatically get an entry and you don't have to do the
Ah,
lottery. So that's a big part of that. And it's just it's a giant block party. It's a lot of fun. And this will be my second year doing live Runnah episodes at the expo as well too.
that's
So
great.
yeah, so
It's
that'll be
it's
fun.
kind of neat. I mean,
Yeah,
because it attracts like we're a very like
we're
small
7
town. I don't know
miles.
if I should say that.
Falmouth is
Like,
definitely a small town. It's
yeah,
100%
like
a small
small
town.
town feel, but you attract a lot of celebrity
Big.
runners and
Yeah, it's kind of
everything.
it's a really wild experience because like the race is very hyper local and it's also like extremely global at the same time because about half the entrants in the race are the residents.
Hmm.
And then all the volunteers are largely residents as well too. And all of the charities are they have to specifically give back to Falmouth organizations. So like any of the charity runners, they're not necessarily from town, but they're all raising money for like town centered organizations.
Hmm.
And then on the contrast, the other portion of it is either people who are like largely way out of Massachusetts, like even like international people who are from like Europe and Africa and all these places who are like your everyday runners. And then you have like the international like Olympians who come in who are a whole nother like part of it's a very interesting race to be a part of. And I don't know if you've run it, Judy. Have you?
I have not, but a couple of my friends, again from the running club, have
Uh-huh.
run it, and one of them actually had a picture with Molly Seidel,
Oh
who
yeah.
I think she ran it a few years ago
Mhm.
before she switched over to trail.
Yep.
And I have a funny story about Molly.
Oh,
She
okay.
actually paced me at a half marathon up in New Boston, New Hampshire,
Oh, no
for
way.
a mile. Yeah, it was
Wow.
one of the most incredible moments of my life.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, she's such a cool human too. Like I love her attitude and I love just like her debut into trail. I mean, I'm sure you were watching Black Canyons and it was just so cool to see her come in and like cry. I rewatched her finish and her getting her Western States ticket like at least 60 times.
I cannot wait for Western States this year.
Yeah. I
I'm a
mean,
big fangirl of all of the live feed,
mhm,
and after
mhm.
all the excitement of Cocodona,
Oh yeah.
it's just a really exciting time. I think for women in trail, but
Mhm.
just trail running in general. We're kind of having a moment.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting. And we can kind of transition this into like talking about your trail race that you're doing too. But it's interesting to see that trail running is becoming more popular within like the general running zeitgeist. Like there are a lot of people who I would consider like like big time running influencers who are transitioning to trail or taking on trail races for the first time, whether it's like a shorter distance or an ultra marathon distance. And also ultra marathoning is like really, this is the first year Cocodona has done a lottery, which is crazy because it's so popular.
Yeah.
And like, that's a ridiculous, I mean, I'm sure, Judy, you're in this camp too. You probably want to run Cocodona at 1.2, and I would also really like to run Cocodona at 1.2. Was I considering putting my name in the lottery? Yes. Did I see the 1,700 price tag for a lottery entry and say, no, thank you right now?
Yeah.
I did that.
I think that's a tough thing. And I think for me, I'm not quite at that fitness level.
Same.
I don't know if I'll ever be at that fitness level.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm not sure if anyone who goes into it, unless you're in the
fitness level.
Right. Like you're close maybe, but you know, I don't think a race of that distance, you are guaranteed to finish. Right.
Yeah.
Like you're probably guaranteed to finish at your local neighborhood 5K, but
agreed.
Maybe not at Cocodona.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I'm always impressed that they have a pretty high percentage finish rate, which is like pretty crazy for a distance that's that long. I mean, even me, like I attempted a 50-mile distance in the fall at Stone Cat, and like that's a pretty small TARC race. And there was a 50% attrition rate. So I didn't feel bad about that because like everyone else, like half the field dropped at the 50-mile distance for whatever reason. And to have like a higher finish rate than 50% for such a long race and like such a big race is like pretty crazy. It's pretty
I think it goes to speak like about, you know, and this kind of goes into the race directing piece of it. I feel like Air Vipa just does
a great job.
Such a phenomenal job, right? And not only thanking their volunteers, but also coordinating. And I'm sure there's a lot of spreadsheets behind the scenes that they're using to organize everything. But I feel like they do a lot. And I not that my race is as big as, you know, an Air Viper race, but I definitely try to study and kind of learn a little bit about what other trail races are doing so that I can adopt a few ideas.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. I mean, we do that with the Cape Cod Marathon too. If me and our admin, Kathy, go to any of the races, because the team is me, Kathy, who's the admin, and Jack, who's the director, and that we're the only 3 people in the year-round team. But we have a lot of really amazing volunteers, which we are so thankful for. But like if Kathy and I go to any event, we always come back with notes. Like we're constantly coming back with notes and like constantly revising things and being like, how can we improve the runners' experience? How can we improve the volunteers' experience? Like, I mean, this year we're going to start doing a volunteer orientation video I'm going to produce that. So that way, because we have like the Cape Cod Marathon 101 episode that we've done the last 2 years, which is really popular. And people have really enjoyed that because it provides like a visual audio format for people to kind of take in what's inside the runner's handbook, which is really good to like let people have like however you learn, whether it's like listening, watching, or reading. Like we want to make sure we are able to communicate with you properly. And we're going to start conveying that to the volunteers as well, too. Because again, I feel like we have the best volunteers in the entire world. And that's my personal opinion. But yeah, I think that's like, it's always good as a race director and as just like a human, you know, to take notes on things. But let's talk about the race that you are in charge of, Judy. You said that this was a race that you started just kind of because you felt like talk to me about why did we start this race? What was the rationale?
So it's kind of a long story, but I'll make it brief. My husband and I have this thing where we're trying to see all of the state parks in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And there's over 130 of them, which is surprising because Massachusetts is not a big state.
No, it's not.
There's a lot out in Western Mass, you know, the Berkshires area, and then other areas. So every time we go, we're like, oh, this would be a cool place for a trail race, or this would not be a cool place for a trail race because there's no parking. There's only 3 spots for parking. Yeah. And so it's always been kind of in the back of my head. And I live in Marlborough, Mass, and there's this place right down the street in Sudbury, which is 15 minutes away from my house that I would run often. And it's basically right in front of my face the whole time that was the best place to have a trail race. And so the local running club is called the Highland City Striders. And we do 2 or 3 different races throughout the year, but they're all road-based races. And we had a trail race several years ago, and it just kind of petered out. No one was really organizing it or anything. And this year I'm actually president of the club, but the previous year I was
Oh,
vice president. But it was
okay.
really kind of a cool thing. I was like, you know what? Let's bring a trail race back into the fold, and I have the perfect place to have it.
Uh-huh.
And I think with trail races, we're kind of skirting the line. We want a cool, fat-ass style type of event,
Hmm.
but we also want, we want some organization. We want to, start and finish line. We want good food for the people. And we want people to come
Mm,
back year after year.
yeah.
So it's kind of a tough balance sometimes, but
Yeah.
I think we really nailed it that first year. We sold out.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, well, let me quantify that. We had 200 bibs.
I mean, that's still
So
pretty
it's not,
good
you
for
know,
for a first time like local trail race. That's pretty good to sell out at 200 bibs.
it was amazing. It was one of those things that I was like, we actually purchased the little giveaways ahead of time. They were these little disposable cups,
Uh-huh.
and we purchased 225 of them. And this was long before we sold out. And I was like, we're going to be giving these away as like Christmas gifts to people.
Uh-huh. 'Cause you're
I'm
like, we're
like,
gonna have a
why
million of
not?
these left over.
Yeah. And it's really kind of a cool community that we've built. And so far, I think we're at about 80 registrants right now, and we have until September, of course,
Mhm.
to fill those spots. And I have no doubt that we'll fill them again this year.
Oh, that's so exciting. Now, it's called Race for Refuge. And what is the race? Because most races have some kind of charity that they are supporting, especially trail races, usually are giving back to some kind of like nature-based charity, give or take. Is this like giving back to the land that it's being run on, or what's the main purpose for, I guess, for raising funds here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Highland City Striders, we're a nonprofit organization. We're
Yeah.
all volunteer run, so we don't
Mm,
keep any, money for ourselves. We don't pay ourselves or anything
yeah.
like that.
Most running clubs are
So
like that.
last year, yeah, I mean, but that's the beauty of it is again,
Yeah.
we go back to those volunteers. Is
Hmm.
everyone is working so hard towards this common goal,
Hmm.
and when we have the day and all the runners are safe and back home and fed, it's like this big sigh of relief, like, wow, we did it.
Yeah.
So the two charities that we donated to last year are the Friends of Woodlands and Waters, which is basically a volunteer organization that helps three nature refuges in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And they do everything from trail maintenance to having organizing the volunteers that will do the trail maintenance,
Mhm.
um, improvements within the refuge, and then we also donated money to a high school scholarship
Oh, nice.
for student athletes. And that was really a special moment. We just did that presentation a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
and we found four wonderful student athletes that we were able to donate a scholarship to.
Oh, that's great. It sounds like your club is doing a lot of similar things that we're doing here at the running club too. We have a yearly scholarship that we also yeah, I think it's three student athletes that we usually divvy
Mhm.
it out to, give or take. But that's great. That sounds like are all really worthy causes. And I think that's great that you're being able to make an impact on those local organizations and like the local trails as well, which is great. We love to see that. So now, what was like the actual motivation, like with starting the race? Were you just, besides that there wasn't a trail race, where did you ever think you were going to be a race director? Have you had like passion or like a desire to become a race director, and this was just kind of the opportunity for you to stretch your wings?
Organizing things.
Okay.
No, so I was actually a race director for a couple of 5Ks as well as a couple of virtual races that we had back in 2020.
Okay.
And the local 5Ks, I did that for 2 years. And that was just a small local community event. They asked the Striders to kind of assist them with their fundraising. So we were able to do that. And that was great. I was a co-race director in that situation with a guy named Jim, was a super guy, and he had race directed, like, one of his most popular races had over 1,000 runners.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he had just so much information,
Mhm.
and just really kind of showed me the ropes of how it should be done. So I took some of that information, and my co-race director, Beth, she had also race directed one or two other races, like a 10-mile race here in the Marlborough area.
Okay. And so you guys just got together and you're like, you know what? We need to make a trail race. Let's do it together, Beth. You and me. We're going to make it happen.
It absolutely is. We had so much fun together, and we worked through a lot of different difficulties, because anytime you're starting a new race, there's the permitting.
Yeah.
There's the issues of just like convincing. So, for example, we really had to kind of convince the refuge, like, we will leave your refuge better than we found it.
Yeah.
We're not going to leave gel wrappers and trash. And they specifically requested that we do a coupless race, which is very common in trail races. But we also had a lot of runners that were road runners and used to kind of the etiquette. The etiquette that you have at a road race. So we had to kind of work a little bit of that, the wording about how we were going to handle the water situation at the race. So there were definitely a lot of different things that were difficult at first. The second year, we've really worked out all the kinks, and I'm super stoked to have it again.
Yeah. No, is this your third year going into this?
So this is my second. That'll be the second year this September.
Okay.
And
Okay. Now, what types of besides, like, obviously the things that you just mentioned, like the permitting or things like that, was there any kind of challenges that surprised you that you guys kind of came across? Because I know, like, with the Cape Cod Trail Race this year, the porta potty delivery was kind of a little bit of a surprise too. I'm working with Chris, the outgoing race director, to learn the ropes of these things, and their delivery was not the most like smooth, you know. So was there anything that like really surprised you when you were starting the race up last year?
Well, we had 4 different options last year. This year we only have 3. The options that we have are the 10K, the 10K, the 30K, and the 6-hour option. But last year we actually had a 3-hour option. Okay. And we only had maybe 5 or 6 people sign up for that part of it. And the races all take part concurrently.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks just didn't really know what to do with that 3-hour time slot. It's a 10K loop. Yeah. So you're like, okay, well, 10K, maybe it takes someone, an hour, for example, to run that 10K on the trails. And so you can you get around 3 times? Probably. If you're on the faster side, but if you're on the slower side, you can maybe make it twice around. So I think a lot of people didn't choose that option. So we just decided to completely just take that off the table. And surprisingly, the 30K option is the most popular option so far this year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting. Any thoughts and feelings you have about like being a new race director, or any thoughts that you have going into this year, or any goals you have going into this year, maybe? For things that like maybe you wanted to change, besides obviously eliminating the 3-hour distance, which does seem a little bit, I can see why people wouldn't sign up for that, because it is a little bit like, it's like, could I do a half marathon in that time? I possibly could, but like depends how technical the trails are and like how good I'm feeling on the day and how speedy I want to take it, Right. Whereas like the 6-hour feels like there's a lot more wiggle room, for doing like a 10K lap. So I my brain was like, yeah, this makes sense why that distance wouldn't be the most popular. But
I think for this year, we're definitely going to work. Like the first year, we were really concerned about parking, for example. And when you think about the ideal place for a trail race, you're like, okay, you need parking for 200, 300 cars. You need an electrical outlet. You need a place to put the porta potties. You need a separate area for the food. So you need a lot of ground area, a lot of space. So we're pretty much okay with the parking situation. Funny story though about the porta potties. First off, porta potties are very expensive to rent. I don't understand why.
they're quite pricey.
And you don't want to have too few of them either. So that's kind of an issue. But I was on the phone, so the porta potty company called me and they said, hey, we're having difficulty finding the venue. And I and I'm on the phone with them, and I said, okay, well, you're almost there. Take a left here, and then you'll be right in the parking lot, and you're fine. And so I'm still on the phone with them, and all of a sudden I hear a voice yelling at the driver, and it's actually the refuge director that is in charge of that whole area. And I know her name is Grace. And she's like, you have to slow down. You can't drive like that coming down this. You're going to kill the turtles.
Oh, no.
And then, of course, I hear all this on the phone, and I'm like, oh, she's going to cancel the race.
Oh, no.
She's so mad at him. But it all worked out okay. And he slowed down and he found the correct place. But there's always little things that come up.
Yeah, it's never a smooth process. I feel like that's one thing that I've learned with being part of a race organization for the last like 5 or 6 years, is that there's always going to be some hiccups, and you can figure out how to make them work, but it's definitely not going to be smooth sailing from every direction, for sure.
It's really kind of neat because Beth and I have taken ideas from all of the different trail races that, we go throughout the year. So for example, she just completed Antelope Canyon, which was very challenging, out in Arizona. And like, I've done a couple of the local ones, like, Vermont 100 and Ghost Train and Hamster, like the same ones that you were just talking about. And it's like, you look at all of these little races and you're like, okay, I like their aid station is really good. So I'm going to adopt their idea. And, the way they do the awards is really good. So we'll take that idea.
Yeah. I think that's really important. Like we said earlier, like learning from other races and like going to races yourself, being a participant at races, seeing, and also volunteering at other races too, like seeing what it's like from the volunteer standpoint and also seeing what it's like from the participant standpoint at these other distances, these other races, these other locations, I think is like honestly invaluable feedback for someone who is on the organizing side of a race. Because then you can do exactly what you just said. You can be like, okay, that was good. I didn't like that. Let's not do that. Let's definitely do that though. That was like a good time. That was very nice.
Someone who was very, very generous with his time a year and a half ago, was Rob F., who is the race director at Flat Rock.
Oh, yeah. I'll be meeting. Yes, I will be meeting Rob in person for the first time at Flat Rock, hopefully. He
is fantastic. But I had actually known him through Ghost Train, and I basically gave him the entire manual that I'd written for Race for the Refuge before the race actually happened. I said, can you read this through? Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what I need to add to it. And he was just so generous with his ideas. And that's what I love about the trail running community. It's just, you ask for some help, you get it. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so nice. I mean, especially like the ultra trail running community, I feel like I really found my people here. Everyone is just like genuinely such kind humans, and also a little bit quirky and weird in a really like just like endearing way, which I love as a quirky weird human. I love meeting other quirky weird humans. So it's just so nice. I feel like for me, the exemplary is like going to races and you just feeling welcome immediately and feeling like there's no sense of competition between the people who are showing up to the starting line. There's just a sense of like, we're all out here to just have an adventure or like just take on the trails. It's us versus the trails. It's not us versus each other, which I think is a big difference between like, I'm sure you probably noticed this at Boston. There's a lot of like inner turmoil in a lot of the Boston runners. And they kind of just like maybe are a little bit angsty towards some other people there on the starting line, if we're going to put it in a nice fashion, but like, doesn't mean you can't have a nice time at Boston, totally. But there's definitely a lot of people who are kind of more or less pitting themselves against other humans. Whereas you show up to a trail race and everyone's just there to talk and eat snacks in the woods and just like have a nice time, just, it's very chill. For the
high fives and good vibes. That's my theme with trail running. It's just like, let's keep it weird, but also let's have fun and support each other out there. Yeah. And one of the most wonderful things that I ever witnessed was up at Ghost Train a few years ago. And Ghost Train is, that was a 100-mile race for me, but there's different distances that you can sign up for. And I was with a friend who had never really run past 20. Well, he had run a 50K, excuse me, but he'd run like 150K. And he's like, I'm going for 100 today. I can do it. I'm like, sure you can. That's great.
Ambitious. We love it.
Totally ambitious. Great guy. Fantastic runner. but he didn't really have like some of the gear that you might like. He didn't have a running vest. He didn't really have a good headlamp. And when you're running through the night, you need a good headlamp.
Yeah.
And so he was admiring someone's hydration vest at the start line. So 5 minutes to go before we were supposed to start. And he's like, "Oh, that's a cool vest. Like, where'd you get it? How do you put your bottles in there? All these things." And he's like, "I just have this handheld." And she's like, "Listen, I have an extra one in my car. I'm going to go get that for you, and you can borrow it for the race, and no problem at all." So she runs to her car with like 3 minutes to spare, grabs the extra hydration vest with like the bladder in the back, fills it for him.
Wow.
Gives it to him, and they start the race.
I mean, that is essentially like the essence of trail running right there. It's like we're all just here to help each other.
Right.
And we're all just like here to spend time and like make sure the person next to us also like has as much of a positive time as they can too.
Yeah.
It's the community, man. Like it's nice.
Totally community. And I absolutely love it. And on a day like today with Global Running Day, it's just a great day to celebrate community,
Yeah. Now, if someone else is looking to get into race directing, hopefully some more like ladies and female oriented humans, what advice would you give them based off of your experience so far?
I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, to be honest with you. I listen, like we were just talking a few minutes ago. So I kind of listen to race reports of like people and like, "Oh, I went to this race and it worked really well," or "I didn't like the hill," or "I didn't like." So I try to incorporate some of those things into the race directing. But honestly, for me, everyone's experience can be different. But for me, it was kind of a natural progression being in the running club already and just having surrounding myself with a lot of other runners and just saying like, "Would you, if we built this thing, would you help me with it?" Kind of. And we had like, so I guess my advice would be just to kind of surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Like one of my good friends actually built the timing system. It's a series of spreadsheets, but basically he built the timing system specifically for our race so that we didn't have to get chipped bibs the first year.
Oh, that's
where you spend a lot of money. Yeah, exactly. So we could save a little bit of money. So it's just finding those individuals who are willing to help and support you in this crazy idea.
Yeah. Find your fellow crazy humans,
Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely I feel like the same too, like surrounding yourself with other people who are just as passionate about the running community and like the thing you're trying to create as you, I feel like is the biggest thing that you can do. And I feel like the reason like one that the Cape Cod Marathon is so successful in the way that it is because Jack and Kathy and I are all like extremely passionate and constantly thinking about the Cape Cod Marathon.
I love that.
Our lives like revolve around it in the most positive way possible. It is my Christmas Day, my New Year's, my Thanksgiving, everything rolled into one. It's my favorite weekend of the whole year. But just having
what do you do? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you do at the end to celebrate? Like, do you like go out to a nice dinner after, or do you just sleep?
Oh, we sleep. Kathy and Jack and I are on like we pretty much turn our brains on from like Thursday morning, if not Wednesday evening onward, because the expo starts Friday night and we have to set it up Thursday. And like usually I'm posting on social media pretty actively and like doing a lot of Q&As and like all these things and reposting things and stuff. So by the time usually I'm up at like 4 a.m. to get in my run before I announce the finish line on Sunday, which is like the last day of this whole long, like very, very, very fun and my favorite thing the entire year. And then usually I'm done reposting people's social media stuff and like responding to DMs and stuff on social media after the race is done around like 7 p.m. And then I just my brain is mush. Like it is certified mush in the best way possible. But it's just, I just fall asleep. Kathy and Jack and I all literally just kind of go off the grid for like 3 or 4 days because we have like collectively for the whole weekend, we have around like 4,500 runners, give or take.
Wow.
Plus a fair amount of volunteers. I want to say there's at least like 1,000 volunteers, 500 to 1,000 volunteers, because it's over the course of essentially 3 days and 2 sets of races. So we have a lot of volunteers and we have a lot of people we're talking to So we're just like, nope, we're done. Like, this is like, just don't bother. Like, I don't, that Monday afterwards, I exist in small spurts where I'm responding to people on socials and like reposting their stuff. But like, other than that, I don't talk to anyone.
I feel like you're the one who should put on a masterclass on how to organize over 1,000 volunteers, 5,000 runners. Like you're the one who should be writing the book and
no, that should be Kathy.
Telling other people how to do it.
Kathy, I am the master of vibes. Instead of the MC, I'm the MV, the master of vibes. And so I am the face and the vocal side of things. So I'm like the identifiable human. Yeah, and also like the redirection piece that people like, if people don't know where to go, like I'm at the expo the whole weekend. So and I'm usually talking. So, and I have a very distinct voice and a very loud voice. So people can usually find me. And like, obviously when I'm on the finish line, I'm in one spot the entire time for the most part. People come and gravitate towards me. But I'm here to mostly just like facilitate the runner experience and make sure that people have the information that they need, because that's essentially what social media is. It's a fun way to convey information about the race to people. And I feel like we've done a really great job with that. Like we had so many people this year come up to me and also send us DMs saying like they didn't have it was their first marathon and they didn't have any anxiety around it because they knew exactly how it was going to go down. And any question they had, we answered within like 12 hours pretty much of them. Like I try to answer as soon as physically possible, especially that weekend. Like I am not on my own personal social media at all. I just have like the Cape Cod Marathon Facebook and Instagram like DMs just like open, and I try to respond to people within like 15 minutes if I can. So that way, if there's something that they need to take care of or organize or obtain, because I know how important it is. I'm that person who like I have a last minute question for the race, and if they don't answer me for like 2 days and then I can't plan on something, like I'm gonna be more anxious about things. And I don't know. We try to provide as good of an experience as we can that we would want for all the runners who are involved. But it's definitely a process. And like Kathy's the one who should give the volunteer organizing masterclass. She's the mastermind behind that. I just kind of am. I'm not along for the ride 100%. Like I'm not just like riding the coattails, but I also do the technology side of things. Like we live stream our finish line, like all the video production that happens around it with like getting that reposted, the one-on-one video, any of our like video audio content. That's on me too. So a lot of stuff.
I think the biggest need, not to like wax poetical about this or anything, but I think the biggest need that runners have is that they're going to be supported during the race and that they feel seen, right? Those are like the two biggest things. And that's what we try to convey with our pre-race communications and, just our finish line vibes and everything.
Yeah. And I mean, that can definitely be anything from like including a non-binary category, as well as like we provide free entries to any of our duo, pushroom, or wheelchair/adaptive athletes. So if you would like to participate as an adaptive athlete, you get a free entry. And just making that as accessible as possible, and just providing, I think the communication side of things is like honestly the biggest thing. The fact that Kathy is like on top of the email so much, and like if you send us a DM on any of our socials, like I'll get back to you within the hour, and people know this. And it's like a known fact, and people are very happy to ask us questions, which is great. We love when people ask us questions. Sometimes it's the same question over and over again, and my brain is like, okay, one more time. But like, it's great to be able to provide that to people, because like you said, like you and I know how it feels to be on the flip side when we have a question, and being able to provide that experience to runners and just quell some of those anxieties, I think is really wonderful. And I'm so glad that you're doing that at your race too, and just being inclusive and responsive and kind. I think are like three of the biggest things that you can do, and you're doing them. So that's amazing.
Well, that's great advice. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's advice or it's just a statement, but hey, whatever.
Maybe you can come visit us this year, either run or just come as a spectator to the race. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the date. I have to double check and see if I can make it out there. then, because I'd love to come possibly run it, or like if you need a finish line announcer, maybe I could announce the finish line. You decide.
It's
Um,
great. It would be a great warm up for Ghost Train because it could be
yeah,
your
it would
last
be.
long run.
Yeah,
Like
it
you
would
could
probably
do
be
the
one of my
30K.
yeah, probably one of my last long runs for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably honestly sign up for the 6 hour just to see how far I could get in that distance.
You're like that.
Mhm.
I don't need the 30K.
I'll
I'm
just
gonna
do
go
this.
50K.
I'll just do the 6 hour. It's fine. And we'll see how far I get this in like a week or so at Flat Rock in 6 hours. The goal is 35 miles, so we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I definitely would. I need to look at my calendar and see exactly where that falls in there, because I know it's before the Cape Cod Marathon, which is great. Because
Yeah.
October the first couple weeks of October are absolutely just like I
Yes.
don't exist as a human because of the Cape Cod
Right.
Marathon. But yeah, I think I would absolutely love to come out and race for Refuge. I think that'd be absolutely awesome. And I actually grew up in Auburn, so I
So it's close.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty close to all the places that I grew up in. I used to say in like all the towns that you're in and around. I was like, yep, yeah, we went there all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It's Sudbury, Framingham,
Yeah,
Westboro, Marlboro. Yeah. All
yeah.
those areas.
And I went to college at Framingham State too, so like
Oh, yeah.
that's right in my backyard of where
Uh-huh.
where my
It
college dorm
absolutely
was.
is. Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's great. Small world.
Yeah. And also, we would love to have you come and run the Cape Cod Marathon if you'd like to,
I
Judy.
have to look at that and figure out how it fits.
Yeah.
Like you, I have to figure out
Yeah.
how that works. I have a race the first weekend in November, which is down
Okay.
in Memphis, Tennessee,
Oh,
called the
wow.
Mamba 100. And I'm a
Oh,
little bit now. So here's the deal. I'm three
yeah.
days removed from my other race,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I am not ready to race again, which is, I mean,
That's
I
okay.
can't
Like
even,
you have time. That's November. So
yeah.
like that gives your brain enough time to forget the pain you were just in and be like, you know what? Let's do it again.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. I mean, the Chowder Challenge actually might be a really great training run for you then, to be able to do the half and the full back-to-back days. And if you do, let me know. We'll get you a discount code so that way you
Oh,
can get
thank you.
discount.
Yeah, back to back runs. That's the key. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's my plan for because I'm doing the Ocean State Ultra in August, which is a
Oh,
12 hour
that
race
one's new,
essentially.
right?
Yeah,
Isn't that one new?
they just started last year.
Oh,
Um
okay.
and it's a 10-mile loop. So you
Yes.
do as many 10-mile loops as you can in 12 hours. Hopefully I'll get to at least 50 miles. That would be
Yeah,
great. It feels
I
doable.
think there's some sand.
Yeah,
If I
there's a
remember
sandy
reading
section. Yeah.
it.
Which I'm actually like, as someone who lives on the Cape, like I am
Yeah,
like
you're fine
weirdly
with that.
prepared for.
Yeah.
Like I'm not prepared for like all the White Mountain ultra races living on the Cape, but I feel like very prepared to run on sand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is one kind of terrain I feel like okay, kind of having to traverse. But yeah, it should be good. But we'll see what's happening. But I was
Oh,
thinking
that's
too.
great.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do like back to back long runs again, like I did for the Chowder Challenge, of just ripping a full marathon back to back days, just like
Yeah.
solo,
Yeah. Yeah. We're fortunate with the Striders is Sundays are usually long run days, and then we have a shorter run on Saturdays. So the beauty of it is you can pretty much just add a few miles to the beginning of the group run and a
Yeah,
few miles to the end, and then
yeah,
you kind of get to almost the point where you don't have to run a lot of it alone, which
alone.
is, I mean, running 20 miles alone is just an awful, awful thing.
Yeah, it definitely gets lonely sometimes. I mean, unless you're my running partner Ben, who like really prefers to do like 90% of his running alone and like literally only runs with me because I force him
Wow.
to. Uh,
I feel like that's a lot of time spent in your head. Like
yeah, for me,
in my
like
head is a scary place.
I end up talking to myself because like
Yeah.
I am a very verbal processor and I know this about
Mhm.
myself. I've been in therapy for like 9, 10 years now. And I know that I process things verbally. And so when I start like I call it marinating in my own thoughts too much, I start
Mhm.
like talking to myself out loud. I'll be like, okay, Juliana, what's going on? What's happening? How are we doing here? And also like me singing, like I listen to music and I'll sing to the music when I'm running because it
Huh.
like it calms me too. Because I've been working on a lot of like calming techniques and things like that recently and breathing techniques. But it definitely, I mean, I feel like recently it's gotten easier for me to be solo. Like I said, I did that trail marathon. Ben only ran with me for like 2 miles and then he ditched me because our friend Nick came through the trails and he was like, I'm going with Nick. And I was like, bye. Because they were going to do
Thanks,
like
Nick.
they were going to do like an extra, we didn't even know he was going to be there. You know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a like a 3.6 mile loop that I just
Uh-huh.
have been running because it's the most similar thing that I can find around here to like the Flat Rock course.
Yeah.
But like we didn't know Nick was going to be there. Ben was running late, so Ben only grabbed me on my very last lap too, because he was
Mhm.
fadooting around his house, and as he usually is. But
Wait, what was that word again, Juliana?
fadooting, just kind of
Pretty
like farting around, you know, just like shooting the shit.
I love that word. I don't think I've heard that word before, but that's terrific.
My parents used to say it, and I've heard some other people say it too. It must be just like a generational thing, and like
Oh, okay. I like
maybe,
it though.
yeah, but Nick came through. We didn't know he was going to be there. And then we were like 2 miles into the loop and they were like, we're going to go back that way. I was like, that's going to make me run like 28 miles today. You know what? I think I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
good.
mostly like a 99% solo marathon is like good for the day. Like that feels like a really pretty good training run. I was good with my time too. I was like, yep, a little over 4 hours. That's great. We love it. Especially with like over 2,000 feet of elevation gain. I was like, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there are definitely people out there who prefer to be on their own, but I'm in the same camp where like, if I can pick up a pacer or I can run with someone, like it makes a huge difference for me because I love to talk, which I'm sure like you're in the same camp, Judy. You probably love to talk.
And I love to hear people's stories too, because sometimes, we lead such busy lives that, sometimes you don't get a chance to have coffee with the friend that you met 3 years ago, and so like you invite them out for a little midnight run so that they can pace you at a race while it's raining.
Yeah.
And they can tell you everything that they've done.
Comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
I know that's one of the things too that like with because I'd like to run the Vermont 100, if not next year, the next year after that. And I was like, okay, Juliana, you're gonna want pacers for this because that's long enough where like I like it, and it's spread out enough. There's not like I feel like Ghost Train, you can easily pick people up and like drop them because everyone's going back and forth on that 7.5 mile, like out and back, give or take. So like I have a strong feeling that when I'm at Ghost Train, I will acquire more humans because that's just kind of the vibe. And I'd love to talk to people, but Vermont, you're going in one continuous like loop.
Correct. Yeah.
You can very much so lose people on that and not run into someone for probably like a couple of miles, if that. So I'm like, yeah, but it makes me nervous having to ask people to like pace me just because I'm like, oh no, like what if I don't finish? Like what if that happens? Will they be disappointed? And like, I was talking to Amy about this. She's like, they're not going to be disappointed in Julietta. People always want to come pace you. I'm like, yeah, I guess I just feel guilty if they come out because I just do most of all my racing. I do solo, and even when I don't have a partner or anything, I live by myself. So even like when I go and do international races, like when I just did Berlin or like any of the local races, even like no one's at the finish line for me. I just finish it, and I'm like, good for me, I did it. That's great. And I'm
yourself over that.
Yeah, and I'm proud of myself, and that's great. But like, I just don't really. I've kind of given up on like the pressure of bringing people with me. So having to do that is definitely daunting.
But let me just like throw this out there just as an idea. So, so for example, at Chesterfield Gorge this past weekend, I had 7 total, but 6 pacers and then 1 crew member. And I was kind of in the same situation where it's like, I don't want to ask someone to come out here and not know if I can finish or disappoint them or make them wait too long,
that too.
between loops and stuff. But it actually kind of kept me going because I knew I'm like, okay, I just need to get back to, at 4:00, Sharon's going to be there and we're going to talk about Iron Woman stuff and all of her adventures in Antarctica. And then I'm like, okay, at 7:00, my friend Vincent's going to be there and we're going to talk about this. So I really look forward to that because, you have to be on for 24, 26 hours, whatever that length of time is to complete that distance. And for someone else to do some of the talking and the thinking for you really helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm in this exact same camp as you too, where like, if I know I have someone waiting, I'm way more likely to like keep up the spirit, like keep my spirits up, and
Yeah.
also just be like, okay, Juliana, you have to keep going, because it's more of like, it's less of like, oh, you're gonna, like when I'm actually out there, like I'm not thinking, oh, I'm gonna let this person down. I'm thinking like, ooh, what a treat that I have someone waiting for
Right.
me. Like even the other day when I knew Ben was joining me at some point, like I was staying out there because I was like, ooh, at some point I'm gonna have a friend, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot better. Here comes my friend, because like that's a little treat for me. It's a nice fun
Mhm.
time to have someone to talk to. So, and Ben's one of my best friends. So it's also too, it's like, yeah, having one of your best friends show up for you is like really wonderful as well too.
It's
So
amazing. Yeah, it feels
yeah,
great. It really lifts your spirits up.
yeah. Well, we've kind of like derailed a little bit, but I'm
I'm
not mad about it.
sorry.
No, no worries. I'm not mad about it in any capacity. I think people will find this conversation very interesting, Judy. But let's round it out with, what shoe do you choose to use? So you can tell me either your favorite shoe or shoes that you either have or have had in the past. But what is
Sure.
what is popping into your brain when you're thinking like shoes that I love?
Yeah. So for trails, I really like the Nike Sagama. That's what I just ran in over the weekend at Chesterfield Gorge.
Okay.
For road sneakers, I really actually like the Nike Pegasus.
Oh,
Um,
okay. We're a Nike
And I
gal.
just find it's just very versatile and just fits me well. I know that a lot of folks complain that it's a little bit on the narrow side. For me personally, it works really, really well.
Mhm.
I get very few injuries, to be honest with you. And so,
Okay.
of course, I know it's a whole thing of, diet and exercise and,
Yeah.
stretching and all that. But I do think the shoes have helped me a lot. This was my first time running in the Zagamas on the trails. And I just found them to be the right combination of just cushiness, but
Hmm.
still good traction. They've got the
Yep.
Vibram outsole,
Yep.
which was great because we had some climbs,
Hmm.
and and they were pink. So
We
it's
love
like
that.
I love the pink. It's cheerful, it's bright, it's feminine, it's cute. So
Uh-huh.
I'm all about the pink shoes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, speaking of Ben earlier too, the Zagama is also one of his favorite shoes too. So I've heard extensively about the Zagama.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was one of the shoes that he took to White Lakes. But yeah, and they do run a little bit narrow. But if you have a narrow foot shape, that's perfectly fine. Like that's great. You have to find the shoe that fits well for your foot. And
Absolutely.
it sounds like these two shoes and like the Nike shoes in general seem to be like a great fit for you. And I think that's awesome. Plus, if it comes in a fun color, that's great too.
I mean, I got a little bit upset when we saw their ads that
In
were,
Boston.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed in their
Yeah.
marketing department for that. But I do their shoes and their clothes in general work pretty well for me, so I'll
Hmm.
probably stick with it from now on. But I am open to experimenting. I know Mountain Coast
Yeah.
is kind of a big name right now coming off, and I
Mhm.
try some of theirs as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you. I'm not gonna like deter you from trying them out, but I have
Yeah,
their T1 and I have the R1,
yeah.
and I genuinely love both of them. Like I just ran in the
Mhm.
T1 yesterday, but they are very wide.
Oh,
So
they are. Okay.
yeah, that would be my only caveat for you. Like they're both great shoes. They're both like consistently reliable. Like that's kind of
Mhm.
their whole vibe, is just like
Yeah.
being like just enough to make it so like it's kind of nice to run. It's like nice to run in them, but they're extremely consistent.
Okay.
Like I put like at least like 50 miles on my road versions, the R ones and also the T ones, and like they have not changed since the
Mhm.
first mile that I started running in them, and they've been great the entire time, like extremely consistent, but they are quite wide.
Mm,
So,
mhm.
and I have a very wide forefoot, and for me, even they're the perfect width, because I love like I run in ultras and topos too.
Oh, yeah.
So like I am like a big wide toe box gal, and for me, it's a very fabulous width, but they're definitely on the wide side.
And I think maybe like towards the end of a race, I generally don't change my shoes halfway
Hmm.
through the race unless it's a downpour. But
Yeah,
I almost think too that at the end of the race, it's helpful to have a slightly wider or, what half a size up shoe
yeah.
because your feet swell quite a bit after being out there for so long.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, they do have the dual lacing system built into them, so you can cinch up the front of the shoe.
Mhm.
I have not, because my feet fill out the whole front
You
of the
don't
shoe,
need
so
to.
I don't need to. But definitely, you could make them more narrow, and I think they're both fab. I think the T1 is a fabulous shoe. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed all the runs that I put into it. So, I mean, the only unfortunate part about Mount Coast is they're not really carried at any stores. So you can't like
Yeah.
try them
Hmm.
on unless you like order them and then return them or something. If
Yeah,
they
that's
don't,
kind of, yeah. Yeah.
which I feel like is, I mean, that's kind of the same for most trail shoes, to be 100% honest. Like a lot of
Yeah.
them aren't carried in shores.
Right.
But it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's a great shoe. Highly recommend, but definitely on the wide side.
Oh, that's good. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for that info. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Judy, it was great to have you on Runnah. I think people are really going to enjoy everything you had to say. And if people want to find you and find more information about the Race for Refuge, where can they find that?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we're on runsignup.com under Race for the Refuge in Sudbury, Mass. For me personally, I'm under Pink Rose Running on Instagram. So those are kind of the two spots that you can find us at.
Great. And I'll put the links to both of those down below in the description of the episode. So that way, if people are excited to run Race for the Refuge, they can sign up. Hopefully you'll sign up and run with Judy this year. That'd be awesome. And yeah. And then hopefully Judy will get you running a distance at the Cape Cod Marathon at some point. So
yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been really fun to chat with you and chat with another female race director and another trail runner. It's always fun.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, like, I think you're in the same category too. Like, you could probably talk until your mouth falls off. So that's me, definitely.
So
it hasn't happened yet, but we'll see.
There might be a day that does happen.
Yeah, it's probably going to be when I commit to something the day after the Cape Cod Marathon is over, and then I'm just like, because I've been talking for like 4 straight days.
I know you kind of like start losing your voice after a while.
The funny thing is, the first year I announced the race, I like lost it a little tiny bit, but now like I don't lose my voice at all because I've just like gotten to the point where I can just talk for legitimately like 9 straight hours, give or take, and I'm perfectly fine.
So for Race for the Refuge last year, I started to do a little bit of the finish line announcing. And you have to give me some tips on this because basically I was like, great job, runner. Good job, runner. Great job. You're doing awesome. Like I kind of ran out of like things to say, especially because I didn't know their names. And so everyone was just a runner.
The manual.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, my recommendations would be, one, if you can, and like give it as an option to have people put their names on their race bibs.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and print it so you know that you could read it from like 50 feet out, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we do that for the Cape Cod Marathon. We also have a chip timing system, so I have an iPad that has people's names coming across, but the iPad isn't always working properly. So it's really nice, one, for the runners to have their name on their bib. So that way, when spectators are watching them, they can like scream at them. Obviously, like at a smaller trail race, it's not as prominent to have spectators, but still it is nice. Even if in the finish line shoot to have people being like, yeah, great job, Jimmy. You're looking great. But then for you as like the person who's announcing the finish line, you don't have to worry about any kind of like technology. You can just read the person's bib and then be able to like announce them, because then that creates a whole nother connection between you and the runner. Like being able to see their face light up because you're like, you're looking great out there, Susan. Like saying things like that. And also like, you can get creative with things. Like I always like to comment on what people are like wearing or like the distance that they run, or like, you did it, you finished whatever the distance is. And kind of also I just talk in between when I'm doing it too. And I'll talk about the race. I'll talk about the weather. I'll just like this year I was going off at people about like how the runners are going to get hydrated by the rain because it's technically salt water and that's electrolytes. And everyone was like, Juliana, you're so unhinged. I was like, that's right.
I love that though. Turn it lemons into lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's electrolytes. It's falling from the sky. Just open your mouth, you know. So
that's good.
Just like lean into being like a little bit unhinged maybe and see what feels good to you. I mean, whenever the runners are leaving too, like, because obviously we're announcing the finish and the starting line. Yeah. I always tell them that I can't miss them until they're gone and that like, I love them lots and I'll see them soon. I'll see them when they get back, you know. It's like, okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, that's good.
Get out of here.
You're very creative.
Yeah. But I think that definitely, I have no doubt in my mind, Judy, you can also be very creative and come up with some fun things to say. So just kind of think outside the box a little bit. I know you got that thinking power in your brain already.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your time today and having the opportunity to talk about Race for the Refuge. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully, more people will sign up because we've talked about it. I hope so. Most of the people who do listen to this podcast are local to at least the New England area. So that's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, thanks for coming on today, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And my friends, if you are watching this and you would like more information about Runnah specifically, or more information from me, or you have a question for Judy and you're not sure where to go, you can send me an email at runnahpod@gmail.com. And also you can hit us up on Instagram at runnahpod. And I will respond to any messages or comments or questions, concerns, queries, anything you got going on. But that is the end of our episode, and we will see you guys soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Runnah. This podcast is edited, hosted, and produced by me, Juliana Coughlin. Brought to you in part by the Falmouth Running Club and the Falmouth Community TV station. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at runnahpod. And you can send us an email at runnahpod@gmail.com. And our original theme music was brought to you by the one and the only wonderful Jeffrey Hutton. And keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.